If your home feels cluttered, it's time to take action. You don't need to overhaul everything. Just start with 12 simple things, and you'll feel an instant sense of relief. In this video, I'll guide you through each room in your home, pointing out the clutter that's quietly making your space feel overwhelming. Stick with me until the end, and you'll not only have a cleaner home, but also a lighter heart. And before we begin, tell me in the comments, which room in your house needs decluttering the most? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let's dive in. Kitchen, expired spices and pantry items. Let's start in the kitchen, because for most of us, this is where clutter sneaks up the fastest. When was the last time you went through your spice rack or pantry? If you're like most people, you probably have some spices that have been sitting there for 5, maybe even 10 years. Now here's the thing. Spices don't really go bad like milk does, but they lose their flavor and potency over time. That means your old oregano, cinnamon, or paprika may look fine, but it's probably doing absolutely nothing for your cooking. Take a minute to check the labels. Most ground spices are only good for 2 to 3 years, while whole spices like peppercorns and cloves can last about 4 years. If you see any that are way past their prime, toss them. The same goes for pantry staples like flour, rice, or canned goods. If it smells stale, looks questionable, or you can't remember the last time you used it, let it go. A fresh kitchen starts with fresh ingredients. And here's a tip. Once you clear out the expired food, wipe down your shelves and organize what's left so you can actually see what you have. No more wasting money on duplicates. 2. Kitchen, mismatched plastic containers. Now let's talk about that one drawer, or maybe cabinet, we all have, that chaotic mess of plastic food containers. It starts off innocent enough. You buy a set, but over the years, the lids disappear or the bottoms get cracked. Before you know it, you've got a mountain of mismatched plastic that never actually gets used. Here's what you do. Take out every single container and match it with a lid. If you can't find its pair, it's time to say goodbye. Be honest with yourself. When was the last time you used that odd-shaped container at the back of the drawer? And don't forget to check for containers that are warped, cracked, or stained beyond saving. Nobody wants to store leftovers in something that looks like it's been through a war. Decluttering your plastic containers does 2 things. It saves you time. No more digging around for a lid that doesn't exist. It frees up space. That drawer will actually close properly for once. And if you want to go a step further, consider switching to glass containers. They last longer, don't stain, and are much better for storing food safely. But at the very least, clear out the plastic chaos and keep only what you actually use. Living room. Old magazines and newspapers. Now let's move into the living room. If you love to read, chances are you've got a pile of old magazines or newspapers sitting somewhere, on the coffee table, in a basket, maybe even stacked up on the floor. You might think, oh, I'll read these later. But let's be honest. When was the last time you actually picked one up? Magazines are designed to be disposable. They're full of articles and trends that become outdated within months. If you've got stacks of old magazines from 5, 10, even 20 years ago, it's time to let them go. Recycle them, donate them to a library, or if there are special issues with sentimental value, limit yourself to just a few favorites. The same goes for newspapers. Holding on to them for a few days is fine, but anything older than a week? It's just clutter. And if you've been saving newspapers because you might need them for something, ask yourself, how often do you actually use them? Clearing. Out these paper piles will instantly make your living room look neater and more inviting. Plus, less dust will collect, making it easier to breathe and clean. A win-win. 4. Living room. Unused decorative items. Let's talk about knickknacks, those little figurines, trinkets, and decorations that seem to multiply over the years. Now, don't get me wrong, your home should feel warm and personal. But sometimes, too many little things can actually make a space feel cluttered and overwhelming. Think about your shelves, tables, and mantel. Do you have too many framed photos, candles, or decorative objects? If you can't even see the surface underneath, it might be time to simplify. Here's a good rule of thumb. If it doesn't make you happy or serve a purpose, consider letting it go. Maybe you have a figurine from a trip you don't even remember, or a vase that's been sitting there collecting dust for years. If it's not bringing you joy, it's just taking up space. And here's the best part. When you remove excess clutter, the things you do keep will actually stand out more. A few carefully chosen decorations can make your living room look elegant and intentional, rather than just crowded. If you're unsure what to get rid of, start by packing away a few things and seeing if you miss them. If not, donate them. Someone else might love them more than you do now. Bedroom, clothes you never wear. Let's move into the bedroom, specifically your closet. Now, be honest with yourself. How many of your clothes do you actually wear? If you're like most people, your closet is probably filled with just-in-case outfits, old favorites that no longer fit, or clothes you bought but never really liked. It's time for a change. A cluttered closet makes getting dressed stressful. You dig through piles of things you don't wear, only to end up reaching for the same handful of favorites over and over again. So let's simplify. Here's what you do. Pull out anything you haven't worn in the past year. If you didn't wear it last season, you won't wear it next season. Check for anything that doesn't fit. If it's too tight, too loose, or just uncomfortable, let it go. Clothes should make you feel good, not frustrated. Look at items that are worn out. If a sweater is stretched beyond recognition or a shirt has stains that won't come out, it's time to say goodbye. And what about all those someday clothes? The ones you're holding on to for the perfect occasion? Be honest. If that occasion hasn't come in years, will it ever? If you don't love it now, you won't love it later. Donate what's still in good shape and toss what's too worn. Once you clear out the clutter, your closet will feel lighter, fresher, and easier to manage. You'll actually be able to see and enjoy the clothes you love. Bedroom. Excess. Bedding and old pillows. Now let's talk about something we often forget: bedding. If you've got piles of extra sheets, blankets, or pillows stuffed into your linen closet, ask yourself, do I really need this many? Here's the truth. Most people only need 2 or 3 sets of sheets per bed, one on the bed, one in the wash, and maybe one spare. Any more than that is just taking up space. Old pillows aren't just clutter. They can be unhealthy. Over time, pillows collect dust mites, sweat, and bacteria. If your pillow is flat, lumpy, or older than 2 years, it's time to replace it. Take a look at your linen closet. Do you have orphaned pillowcases with no matching set? How about blankets that haven't seen daylight in years? If you don't use them, let them go. Donate them to a shelter or repurpose them as pet bedding. When you reduce your excess bedding, you free up space and your home feels lighter, cleaner, and fresher. 7. Bathroom. Expired medicine and old toiletries. Now, let's head to the bathroom. One of the most overlooked areas when it comes to decluttering. Most of us have a cabinet or drawer filled with half-used bottles, expired medications, and random toiletries we forgot we even had. Let's break it down. Expired medicine. Prescription or over-the-counter. If it's past the expiration date, it's time to let it go. Medicine loses its effectiveness over time, and in some cases, it can even become dangerous. But don't just throw it in the trash. Check with your local pharmacy for proper disposal methods. Old makeup and skincare. If you have lipsticks from the 90s or face cream from 5 years ago, it's time to say goodbye. Most skincare products expire after 1 to 2 years, and makeup, especially anything liquid, can harbor bacteria. Hotel toiletries. We've all done it. Grab the little shampoo and conditioner bottles from a hotel stay. But let's be honest. How many of them have you actually used? If they're just sitting in a drawer, donate them to a shelter or toss them. Half-used products you didn't like. Maybe you tried a shampoo that made your hair feel like straw, or a lotion that smelled awful. If you didn't like it then, you won't like it now. Give yourself permission to throw it away. A decluttered bathroom is easier to clean, easier to use, and much more refreshing. Plus, no more digging through expired junk to find what you need. Bathroom, worn-out towels and washcloths now. Let's talk about something everyone has too many of: old towels. Over time, towels lose their softness and absorbency, but many of us hold on to them far longer than we should. Here's how to know when it's time to say goodbye. If your towel feels rough and scratchy instead of soft and plush, it's too old. If it smells musty even after washing, it's time to replace it. If it's frayed, has holes, or is falling apart, it's no longer serving you. Now I know what you might be thinking. But I could use them as rags. That's fine, but be realistic. You don't need 20 old towels for rags. Keep a few and donate or toss the rest. Animal shelters love old towels for bedding, so if they're still usable, consider donating them. When you clear out your worn-out towels, your bathroom will feel fresh, clean, and luxurious. And let's be honest, doesn't it feel better to dry off with a fluffy towel that actually absorbs water? Home office. Old papers and junk mail. Now let's move to a place that often becomes a clutter magnet: the home office. Whether you have a dedicated office space or just a desk in the corner, chances are it's overflowing with paper. Let's be honest. How much of it do you actually need? Start with these categories: old bills and statements. If they're over a year old and not needed for tax purposes, they're just taking up space. Most companies keep digital records now, so you don't have to. Expired warranties and manuals. That old microwave manual from 2005? Toss it. You can find most manuals online now if you ever need them. Junk mail and outdated catalogs. If you haven't looked at it since you got it, it doesn't belong in your home. Old notes and scribbles. If you wrote down a phone number or reminder 5 years ago, do you really need it now? Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but what if I need it later? That's why I recommend setting up a simple filing system for important documents. Keep tax records, medical documents, and legal paperwork in a safe place. But for everything else, shred it and move on. Clearing out the paper clutter gives you a cleaner, more organized space and makes it easier to find what actually matters. 10. Garage. Broken or unused tools. The garage. The place where things go to disappear. It's where we put things we think we might use someday, only to forget they exist. And if you've been in your home for decades, you might have decades worth of clutter in there. One of the biggest culprits? Old tools. If you open a drawer and find rusty screwdrivers, broken hammers, power tools that haven't worked in years, 3 of the same wrench when you only need 1, it's time to let some go. Be honest, if you haven't used a tool in the past 5 years, you probably won't. Keep the essentials, but clear out the duplicates, broken items, and things you don't even remember buying. And while you're at it, check for old paint. Cans, dried up glue, and half-used spray bottles that are no longer any good. These things pile up quickly, and they take up space you could use for something more important, like actually being able to park your car in the garage. Living room. Unused decor and keepsakes. Now, let's step into the living room. This is supposed to be the coziest, most inviting space in your home, but if it's filled with clutter, it can feel overwhelming instead of relaxing. Take a look around. Do you see decor that no longer fits your style? Maybe you have figurines or wall art that you bought years ago but don't love anymore. Shelves crammed with random knickknacks. If dusting takes longer than it should, it's a sign you have too much stuff. Gifts you felt guilty keeping? If someone gave you something, but it doesn't bring you joy, you don't have to keep it. Now, I'm not saying you should throw away sentimental things. But ask yourself, does this item make me happy, or is it just taking up space? Decluttering your living room makes it feel more open, peaceful, and inviting. And that's what a home should be, a place that feels good to be in, not a storage. Unit for things you don't even like. 12. Entryway. shoes, bags, and random. Clutter finally, let's talk about the entryway. This is the first place you see when you walk into your home. And if it's cluttered, it can instantly make your whole space feel chaotic. What tends to pile up here? Shoes you never wear. If you have 10 pairs by the door but only wear 2, it's time to tidy up. Bags, purses, and umbrellas. If you have things sitting in the entryway for months without being touched, they belong somewhere else. Random junk. Keys, mail, reusable shopping bags, loose change. It all adds up. A messy entryway makes your home feel cluttered before you even walk all the way in. Try keeping just the essentials there, your daily shoes, your keys, and maybe a small basket. For important items. When you clear the clutter from your entryway, your home instantly feels calmer and more welcoming. And there you have it. 12 things you can declutter from every room in your house, starting right now. Did any of these surprise you? Let me know in the comments. What's the first thing you're going to get rid of? And before you go, if you love practical advice like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more senior living tips. Plus, if you want my best advice delivered straight to your inbox, sign up for my Savvy Senior newsletter. It's packed with tips, wisdom, and real talk about aging with confidence. I'll see you in the next one.